Hey, this is WhyBeAre with BeamNG.drive, and today we're going to be taking a look at a mod for the Covet that adds a sedan option to the vehicle. So that means it makes it a four-door vehicle, and it removes the hatch and replaces it with a more traditional trunk. So we're going to spawn up both the DXI versions of the vehicle, so the DXI sedan and the DXI hatch, for comparison purposes, and we'll get them both in pearl white. We'll make sure the camera's the correct position, then we can kind of go back and forth between them to compare them. And you can see that the bumper and light style is the same, but then you don't have the badging on the sedan. And then, of course, the sedan has a trunk in place of the hatch. And the trunk actually sticks out farther than the hatch. So you see right here, you just have a little bit of the car overhanging that rear wheel. On this one, you have a pretty good section of the trunk overhanging the rear wheel. So that means the sedan is ever so slightly longer than the hatchback. Now let's compare the safety of these two vehicles. So we're going to spawn up a T-Series, and we'll get the T75 cement mixer. So this is going to be a real serious crash because we're going to have a ton of weight behind us. So it should do a lot of damage, even if we only hit them at maybe 30, 40 miles per hour or so, which is what I'm going to be trying to aim for. So we'll let that thing back up a bit. Make sure parking brake is on both of these for a consistent impact. Right there, we hit 30 miles per hour, so we'll roll it over. I know it's totally unnecessary to roll it over, but it is fun to do. Then we'll put it upright and let it bounce. It's so exciting. It's just jiggling with excitement, right? Back it up a little bit more so it's lined up. Reset it one last time so you have a consistent starting point. And from this point, I think we should be able to hit 30 to 40 miles per hour on impact, no problem. So we're definitely in the 30s. Bringing in the slow-mo. 16 times should be a good amount. And then let's go ahead and actually swap the camera to this car, so you can really watch the car get hit. And that actually caused a significant amount of damage to the roof. Impact's over, so we'll go ahead and remove the T-Series, let this guy come to a stop. And that is really unsafe looking. Yeah, it's a real heavy T-Series, but I don't think the roof bending that much is really appropriate. I expect the hatchback right here to hold up quite a bit better, actually. Like, I've hit the hatchback a bunch of times, and I don't think it would do that from that speed of a crash. And to keep a consistent speed, we're just starting from the same spot, and it should be, you know, within a mile per hour or two of the previous one. And I just noticed, there we go, my slow-mo was all messed up because I didn't undo the slow-mo. Luckily, I fixed it before it was too late, so impact is coming. Hitting this one. Oh, that one fared much, much better. Parking brake is still on, so it's not that. And I know I accelerated a little bit right there, but that's not enough for it to really make a difference as far as I'm concerned. So I'll bring the truck back and then let both of these just slide. And hello. Ha! They landed near each other. Okay, let's pull it forward a bit so we can actually look at them individually. We'll start with the rear of the sedan because I think that's the most interesting part. So you see, that thing has really been pushed in a lot because the amount that's overhanging the rear wheel is about the same as the stock hatchback. And then you got that roof damage, which the hatchback simply does not have. Yeah, it has some roof damage on the rear, but this one has roof damage on the front and the rear. Like, that one started to crunch inwards where the hatchback just held up a little bit better. You can even see this part right here on the bottom where there's just some frame bending to it. And I don't think the hatchback has nearly as much frame bending. It has a tiny bit, but the bending on this one seems much, much more severe. So sedan is less safe than the hatchback. At least that's the conclusion I come to from that. We could always do a test, though, where we crash them into each other. It's always a fun test to do. And we'll drive the sedan just because it is the modded car. So I figured we might as well drive that one instead of the stock one. And we'll try to back it up, but the camera loves to take forever to line up. So there we go, right into their back. And the alignment doesn't matter too much. I just want to mostly see how they compare. So one impact right there. Pretty good amount of damage on that one. How about this one? It actually looks pretty comparable in terms of overall damage. So I say we go for round 2. I know it's rolling away, so the actual damage here is going to be pretty minor. That's okay. We could just do more and more crashes. So here, again, that looks like it's holding up all right. Although the front windshield broke. That was a little unexpected. Although the same happened to this one, so I guess it's forgivable. And I'm thinking at this point you can kind of see that the hatchback is holding up a little bit better. Although it might just be the sedan has more zone to crumple with. So it ends up looking like it's doing worse than the hatchback. And I swear, that camera always likes flipping over at the very last minute to make it as hard as possible for you to actually crash the two cars into each other. Like, if it would stay right here, that'd be great. But what's the camera going to do? It's going to look that way. Why are you looking that way? I don't know. We're just bumping butts, seeing how they compare. And right here, sedan has received roof damage. And then hatchback, maybe a bit of roof damage on the rear, but definitely not as bad as the one on the sedan where you can see a huge pop-up on that front door. So it seems like the part where the sedan seems to suffer is actually on the front, which is not what I expected. I figured it would be on the rear, but I guess it's just the rear is weaker, so more of the impact goes to the front. I think what we need to do is just whack up the back of this thing as much as we possibly can while still being drivable. That would be fun. Can it drive still? Yes, so we're round 2, ready to go. And the rear passengers in this, they are crushed at the moment. So hitting it again. Can it still drive? Barely going, but it is going. Uh-oh, engine is starved of oil. This is not going to last much longer. It's amazing that it's still driving, though. Come on, do it again, do it again. Hit that wall, 30-ish miles per hour. And that is all it got, because we just can't put enough power down to move, but the car would still move if it couldn't. The way the roof just crumpled in right there is a huge safety hazard. It probably shouldn't do that, actually. I would think the roof might need to be strengthened a little bit on this mod to make it more realistic. Anyways, let's go ahead and try actually crushing the roof then compared to the hatchback. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go over to here, place the car under this area. So we're just going to set it like, I think right here should be good. You back it up a little bit to right there. That looks like it's right under there. And then we're going to go ahead and make the gravity be negative, and then we'll crash it right into that and see what happens. And I hit the wrong button. Gotta go to environment, and then for gravity we hit negative earth. So right there, roof totally caves in. Like totally. So now we'll use the exact same position, but we're gonna swap out the sedan for the hatchback, and for consistency's sake, we will stick with the DXi. So we'll go to environment once again, negative earth. And that one caved in a lot too. Pretty comparable, I would say, actually. Maybe a little bit less on this one because you can see a little bit of the roof still holding up on the right side, but overall, very, 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 very comparable. So I don't know if the actual roof strength is that much different. It might just be the way the back end crumples when you rear end it. And we got a fireball over there from the truck. We could just reset everything and... Whoops, something glitched out. Let's reset physics just in case that fixes it. What about for frontal impacts? Does somehow the rear affect on the frontal impact? Like, normally you wouldn't think it would, right? But I'm not sure about that because how much damage you got on the front when you're doing the rear impacts by the start of the roof makes me curious. So we'll just hit this wall at like 40-ish. And you do get a lot of caving in on the roof. I don't think there's going to be quite that much from the hatchback, but we'll test it out and make sure that that is true. Do a nice big sweeping churn, and again, just about 40 miles per hour here. A little bit over 40, and yeah, it looks like much weaker roof when you do that kind of impact on the sedan. It just has a habit of caving in where the hatchback doesn't cave in as much. Interesting. And then we also got a couple more versions of the sedan I haven't taken a look at. They're based on the ones that already exist for the hatchback though. So we have the BeamNG sedan, which is a BeamNG version, or it's just like the BeamNG right there, except it doesn't have the dirty paint job. It looks like a normal sedan that just spews smoke everywhere it goes and will blow up imminently when the engine fails because it's in such a terrible, terrible state. Just like the normal BeamNG though. drive it a little bit. Maybe try to do a loop-de-loop with it that I know it probably won't be able to make because it's so slow. Well, 50 is going to give it a chance. Let's see here. 50. Nope. Landed on its wheels though, at least. That's something. Reset that. And we also got a race and rally version. Race sedan demands race track. At least I assume that's what it's trying to tell me by crashing the game right there. So I went ahead and hopped over to Hirochi Raceway, and we're going to try bringing this thing out again. And this is more than just the race hatchback parts thrown onto the sedan body style. It has the body style kit that you would find on the custom, then it has a spoiler on the back, and then it also has a different configuration in terms of performance. So the suspension is different and the engine is different as well. The engine in this is much more boost happy than the one you find in the hatchback version. As for handling, I'd say they're pretty comparable. Maybe this one might be a little bit more willing to slide by a tad bit, but overall they're pretty similar when you're driving around. If I had to choose one, I'd probably choose the hatchback just because I'm used to it, but that's not to say this is a bad car by any means. I mean, you see I'm going around these corners at pretty good speeds, 60 miles per hour, skidding the whole way, but we're going around them, which is all that matters. You can make a plume of smoke, but if you're the fastest car around the track, it don't matter. Plus, smoke screens slow down your enemies anyways. And we'll do a whole lap with this thing, and then we'll go ahead and try out the rally one after this, maybe. Although there's no rally track here, so we'll have to go find one. And also, we will crash it once. Not yet, though. For a second, I thought that was the last corner, so I was going to wreck into that wall, and then I realized it wasn't. Okay, we'll finish a lap, then wreck it, just so I don't make any dumb decisions like that again. So this is the last corner, right? Yes, it is. And that was actually really surprising that I didn't spin out right there. I thought for sure I was a goner. Somehow it was able to pull itself together, though, for that corner. I think the dirt saved my life. Here we go. Slide it. And destruction. So now let's go ahead and head on over to... You know what? How about we do Small Island, USA? That has a good place for rallying. And just like the race sedan, the rally sedan is different from the normal rally hatchback. So we'll spawn that up and we'll put it in, let's go flame orange. And this thing actually, for some reason, seems way more likely to tip over while rallying than the hatchback. I don't know if it's just purely coincidence, but whenever I've driven the two, even going back to back, it always feels like this one wants to tip over more. Aside from that, it seems like it's a pretty decent rally car. There's no problem going over the bumps and stuff without bottoming out or anything like that. And you see right here, it's doing a decent job. And then it tipped over. You see what I mean? Like, I know, yeah, I put it in a position where it had the opportunity to tip over. That's totally on me, but it's just like, it just happens that fast. I end up playing a little reckless, and then whoops, we're rolling over. Thankfully, though, it only seemed to damage the rear suspension mostly, so I can still put power to the ground, so we can keep going. You notice that the roll cage has kind of glitched out a bit. The beams of it have stretched out. What do you just call them? Pipes? I don't know if they have a fancy name for those pieces of the roll cage that go across the car, but basically the roll cage itself is starting to glitch out a little bit. I think it still has structural strength to it, though, so if we roll over, we should be fine. One thing that's nice is we're going a little bit slower, which helps control my speeds that I like to go around the corner so I don't end up rolling the car over too much. Well, and there we go again. Overall, it's a fine car for rallying as long as you can stop it from rolling over. Oh, I thought I was about to do it again right there. Not quite, though. I think we're going to be running out of course in a second, so how about we do roll it? Oh, I'm surprised that didn't roll. I thought for sure that would roll it. All right, let's actually get a functional one because I've been struggling with that damaged one for long enough. And we can drive a nice functional car, which is so much easier to go fast and then also to flip. That one is just like, that was like hitting a jump. Everything would have flipped there, but it looked so fun to do, I had to do it. And thankfully, it pretty much just landed on the roof, I think, so I shouldn't be damaged in terms of vehicle drivability if I can get out of the hole. Let's see, does it go straight still? That seems like it's still going straight, so we're good to go. And up here, instead of going to the right again, we'll go to the left so you don't end up doing the same course part twice. Whoa, whoa, don't hit those trees. You know, if I was actually driving, I could not see behind me because of my trunk being open like that. That's very inconvenient. Onto the beach. And I think that gives you a good idea kind of how the Rally 1 performs. So we'll get some air, roll it over. Again, any car would have rolled over there. I mean, you didn't see it right there, but there were a few times when I was testing it where it's like, whoa, that rolled it, and it felt like the hatchback wouldn't have. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to go and do Leap of Death and then Brutal Slow. So now let's grab the race version of the sedan, which, as I said, performs very similar to the race version of the Covet in terms of suspension, but it is faster in a straight line, I'm pretty sure. It just feels like it accelerates a little bit faster, which means we can get a little bit faster on the jump and get a little bit more interesting of an impact. So we'll do this one in full speed, and then I may or may not do it in slow-mo, depending on the outcome of this one. That was actually a pretty lucky landing for the car. Keeps it more intact than a lot of other landings. Obviously, it's not going to drive, but only 2 hits, and then it's at the bottom. That's very, very impressive. Almost just 1 hit to make it to the bottom. And then it's totally ruined. I guess we could do that one more time and throw in some slow-mo. Seems like it might be interesting enough. So 66, off the edge. And looks like it's going to hit pretty much the same way. So start popping the slow-mo on. 16 times until we get to the impact. Impact 100 times. A little slow on that, but no big issue. Speed it up. And let's see if it can hit the water in just 1 bounce. It looks like it's going worse than last time, so I don't think it's going to make it in 1. Nope. And I guess we could go ahead and do Brutal Slope. So go there. And for this, we'll once again use one with the roll cage. So we'll go race again, and then we'll change the color this time. We'll get it in red. I think I backed up a bit too much, but that's okay. This gives us more room to line up properly. And I don't think I'll bother with the convertibilizer because you already saw that happen basically when we did the roof crush test. So we'll just do a impact test and that'll be it. This thing also has different gearing than the stock race one, I think, maybe. I don't think the normal one tops out that high. I don't know. Definitely acceleration is different. It's been modified to accelerate much faster than the normal race version, though. And I love the way this engine sounds when it actually gets past the red line. It just sounds so crazy. Here we go. Bring on the slow-mo. 100 times slow-mo. And boom. Roll cage can't save you. Roll cage can't save you. And there goes the engine. And all that's left is a pile of scrap. So until next time, this has been WhyBeAre. I'll see ya.